Hello people, I am the Comic Book Gamer, and a bit ago we got announced at, I believe it was WonderCon, that Deathstroke is going to be a part of DC Rebirth. Now, if you've been under a rock for a good bit, then you won't know what DC Rebirth is. DC Rebirth is just DC sort of doing a softcore reboot of their characters. They're changing a whole bunch of stuff, and one of those is Deathstroke. Deathstroke got announced. I was very surprised when I heard he got announced. I was at work, and I checked my Twitter, and I was like, Deathstroke, that's so awesome, because I didn't think they would do that, because they're trying to limit it down to characters that people legitimately want to buy, because they're doing these books twice a month, and they're doing them for $3 each. So I thought it would just be, oh, it's going to be like the Trinity, Green Lantern, like basically the Justice League members, and a few books here and there that people wouldn't expect. But I did not think Deathstroke, because it doesn't seem like his sales were doing too well, but apparently they're doing good enough. So a Deathstroke book was announced. I figured now was the time to talk about Deathstroke, because I haven't talked about him in a long time, and I love this character. I'm glad that we finally have new stuff to talk about him for. So, who is writing this book? Well, it's Christopher Priest, a guy who apparently had a legendary run on Black Panther. I don't know, because I did not read it. He wrote some stuff for Deadpool as well and did some other things, but I have not read any of his work, and so I don't know if he's any good or not. A lot of people say he's great. That doesn't mean he'll be good for Deathstroke. For instance, you have Tony Daniel, who wrote Deathstroke in New 52. He did an amazing job with Battle for the Cowl, but sucked writing Deathstroke, so just because you're great on another book doesn't mean you're going to be good writing Deathstroke. So I'm still holding off to see if this guy's any good or not. We shall see. Obviously can't really prejudge him. He hasn't written comics for years, apparently, from what I've heard. He's been out of the game, and DC got him back for Rebirth, which is apparently a big steal. And so yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping he does good. We've gotten some art reveal and some covers and things like that. So yeah, before we get into all the characters and stuff, let's talk about the designs. We got sketches and things released for Deathstroke himself and Ravager. So Deathstroke, I don't like his design at all. The only thing that I like is the fact that he's old again, because in New 52 they made him young. It was just retarded what they did. But anyways, it's the fact that he's back to being older again, and he's got his classic sword. I love it. That sword is so awesome, and it's classic, and it's classic Deathstroke. I love it. But that's it as far as me liking the costume goes, because the rest of the suit is pretty bad. First off, it's lacking the trademark blue. He always goes rocking the orange and blue, and now he's black and orange, like every single media incarnation of him, basically. Most of the cartoons with Deathstroke in the movies and the cartoon shows, it's black and orange, and I always hated that. It's stupid, it's basic, and he doesn't stand out at all. He looks like a normal henchman, and that's what he does here. They're like, hey, we'll just make him bland, and it's lacking. He looks generic. He doesn't stand out. He doesn't look like an awesome Deathstroke. I'd take his 90 design. I loved his 90 design, but obviously it would stand out a lot now, because, it wouldn't really fit in with the modern designs, but I would take it way over this nowadays for Deathstroke's costume. Like with the bell bottoms and everything, I would take it over this, because this is just awful. And that's not mentioning the fact that we have he's got this stupid white arm for some reason. I don't know, and his gloves look like he bought them at Dick's Sporting Goods. It's kind of weird looking. And then the shoes just look like water shoes to me. I don't like the look of the shoes. Just the white arm's mostly what throws me off, and that patch of orange on his left shoulder looks weird as well. Looks kind of like something Aquaman would wear, not Deathstroke. Just overall, his suit doesn't look good. My main complaint being the white arm and the lack of blue. There's no blue. He's black. I hate that. Either that, or like we get that one cover image shows a glimpse of it being a grayish blue, but everywhere else it looks black. But that one glimpse, it looks like a grayish blue, and I hope that it leans more towards blue, or he'll look at a suit redesign or something, because this current suit is just pretty bad. But anyways, we also got Ravagers New Look. I don't really care for her look, because it's kind of like, hey, I'm a mercenary, but I'm also a teenage girl, in case you didn't know. And so, like, she's wearing yoga pants and sneakers and a sports bra, and it's like, nah, I'm not really digging it. But I can get over these character designs if they write Deathstroke great, if they write the classic Deathstroke I know and love, because I haven't seen that Deathstroke in forever. Like, the last time we saw a good Deathstroke was when, like, Jeff Johns or Judd Winnick was writing him in, like, Green Arrow and Teen Titans. That was the last time we really had a great Deathstroke. You're saying that was a while ago. That was early 2000s. And so I really miss this character. But anyways, the designs, I'm not a big fan of them. But again, I can get over them as long as the book is good. Now we're getting a glimpse into what the story will be with this cover released. As you can see, it's Deathstroke with like his entire past behind him, with obviously the biggest thing being that Wintergreen is back. So Wintergreen was in the New 52 for a very short bit. They introduced him at the beginning. He had a race change and he wasn't older than Slade, and so it really ruined the dynamic that those two had, because they're like the same age and stuff, and their origin was different. It was really stupid. They ruined his character and then they got rid of him really fast. It was like, okay, well, there goes Wintergreen, an iconic Deathstroke character. And but yeah, now he's back, and I hope they do him justice. I hope Christopher Priest does him justice. We see Adeline Kane, Grant Wilson, and Joe Wilson. At least that's who I'm assuming those two are. And we also got Ravager back there, of course. And then to the left, we've got the unknown. We got a target on some dude. Looks like Deathstroke's going to be hunting someone down. And then, like, just anonymous terrorists, it looks like. So, yeah, I'm conflicted about this because of the fact that the whole Deathstroke's family thing has been beaten to death by almost every writer that's ever written Deathstroke. Whenever they write a story solely focused on Deathstroke, it's about his family. And yes, they are a huge part of the past that mold him to the character he is today, but that's exactly it. They're part of the past. You don't need to constantly be bringing them up over and over and over again. They're like a dead horse that keeps getting beat, like just constantly. Every writer does it. They did in the New 52, and it was just terrible. I hate it. They need to stop it. They keep bringing up his family so much. I want a Deathstroke solo book about Deathstroke being Deathstroke, doing Deathstroke things. I don't want his family constantly being brung up. There have been some amazing stories with his family, but we don't need to keep on seeing his family, especially because there's so much stuff that's unexplored with Deathstroke they can do new, unlike with characters like Superman and Batman, who have been around for so long that basically everything's been done, and so it's really challenging to bring a new writer on to write them. Like, for instance, Scott Snyder, amazing writer, did a great job with Batman New 52. Court of Owls, one of my favorite storylines, but a lot of people were comparing that to the Black Glove in Grant Morrison's run of Batman, and a lot of people were like, hey, the Court of Owls sort of like the Black Glove, and they weren't wrong, but Court of Owls is still great. But again, that's something where it's like, okay, Scott Snyder had an original idea, but people are still comparing it to this because of the fact that this character's already had stuff like this. This character's been around for so long that so many stuff has been done with it. With Deathstroke, he hasn't been around for near as long as those characters, and as long as he's been around, he hasn't always had a book. He hasn't always had a solo book or always been a villain of a book or anything. So there's still so many options you can do, so many different things you can do. I really hope they explore that and don't just limit it to, well, here's Deathstroke and his family, and that's all there is to the character. What I'm hoping they do is go very simplistic with it and just go simple. You don't need to have giant guest stars every 2 seconds like they did when they relaunched Deathstroke in the New 52. Basically, what they've been doing is they don't think Deathstroke can sell, and their writers are terrible, so they just throw in characters all the time. They throw in like Batman, Harley Quinn, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Suicide Squad, Red Hood, characters constantly for Deathstroke to go against, and it was just terrible. Like, it's all these really cool concepts, and it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome, and then the execution was terrible. Because they were just throwing them on there to sell, because they're like, hey, Harley Quinn sells, throw in a Deathstroke book for a bit. And I'm really hoping they don't do that. They give Deathstroke some original characters, some villains, some people to fight, and I hope they don't go at it as the approach of Deathstroke needs an arch enemy. I hope they don't do that. I hope they'll be like, hey, Deathstroke can kill this guy, because that's what Deathstroke would do. He wouldn't be like Batman, be like, hey, I'm gonna throw him in jail, but like, no, I'm not gonna kill him for this reason, or pull a Spectre and just have him not kill him. Anyways, it's just really stupid. So I'm hoping that they keep Deathstroke and go more simplistic, like the Punisher Marvel Now series. When they relaunched Punisher during Marvel Now, I love that series. It's very simple. It's very military. It's about the Punisher, and it's really cool. And he has an objective. He has his goal, and I want them to do that with Deathstroke. I want to see the mercenary aspect of him as well, because lately we haven't really seen that. It's been really weird with what's been going on. They've been screwing it up. Like, Deathstroke constantly gets off track. I like seeing when Deathstroke has a goal, when he has a job to do, and I like seeing the morals of Deathstroke and stuff, because we just saw in Green Arrow number, I believe it was 50 or 51, anyways, Deathstroke showed up in Green Arrow, and there's this part to where this guy wants Deathstroke to do something, and I made this comparison on Twitter, but anyways, he's like, well, as long as I get the money, I'll do it. And prior to that, like, before New 52 Deathstroke, Marv Wolfman Deathstroke had he had standards for his jobs. He had morals. He had a code. He would not accept jobs for money. is what I'm saying. It's not just, well, obviously he did it for the money, but what I'm saying is it wasn't just for the money. You could give him all the money in the world, but if something was off about him, he wouldn't do it. And this Deathstroke, New 52 Deathstroke, as long as there's money, he'll do it. It doesn't matter. And so I hope they get back to the core of the character of Deathstroke, because he's a very awesome character, very near and dear to my heart, and I just love Deathstroke so much. So I hate seeing DC mistreat him constantly, because he's the Boba Fett of DC. He's a character that looks awesome. He can sell when he shows up in other people's books, because they know us hardcore Deathstroke fans will buy him because we want as much Deathstroke as we can get, and then they just ruin him. Because again, Boba Fett was a really awesome looking character that sells but never did anything and was really mistreated. That's what Deathstroke is. He's the Boba Fett of DC, and I really hope they get him back to where he was in the 90s when he was awesome. Make Deathstroke great again. We need that hashtag make Deathstroke great again. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments below. What do you think of this DC Rebirth? Everything that's going on with that. Please let me know. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give it a like. And I'll see you guys in the next one.